Welcome back to the Nittany Lion Sports Report, everybody. It's time for the Blitz here on BLS, and we're going to talk about a brilliant call in the Iowa game and how Penn State's going to need to design things defensively to deal with Michigan and what Michigan does so well offensively. It's not going to blow you out of the water, this Michigan offense, but they do a lot of the little things very well, and they got a key piece in Shea Patterson. But first to the Iowa game. It's a 17-17 game, exactly how you expected the football game to get to 17-17. Two safeties, field goals, of course, the fake field goal for a touchdown thrown to a linebacker, exactly the way you expected Iowa to get 17 points. But now, right here at 1 yard short of the 50-yard line, Penn State has the football, and they're actually driving this way, but we're going to just run it this way for the purposes of this broadcast. Trace McSorley is here on 3rd down and 2. And Penn State needs a play. It's tied. A lot of momentum on the line. Iowa comes out in a cover 0, meaning that there's no safety help deep whatsoever. There's one linebacker here. There's a bunch of guys right up on the line of scrimmage, and then it's man-to-man defense on the outside. DeAndre Tompkins is out here. So at this point, Penn State draws up an absolutely brilliant call. A designed run to Trace McSorley. And for Penn State, it's right here where Connor McGovern makes the key play. Trace McSorley takes off here. Connor McGovern very, very quickly pulls this way as the athletic guard that he is, and Penn State leaves this defensive end completely unblocked, as if this were a pure college-style read option. I mean, that's what Penn State does day in and day out. So they leave this guy uncovered, and then they don't hand the ball off, and Trace heads right for this guy. So he thinks he's got an easy opportunity to take down Trace McSorley. But now McGovern takes him completely off the football. Trace McSorley gets through here, and this linebacker who would come in to attack the A-gap on a potential run up the middle by the back for Penn State, he had no chance. So now it's one-on-one as DeAndre Tompkins runs streaks, and now it's his job to block the only cornerback left between Trace McSorley and the end zone. And that's something that DeAndre Tompkins has done really well for a long time here at Penn State. For the struggles that he's had, he's been able to pin guys here and allow long runs to continue down the field. Trace McSorley takes off for the end zone. It's 24-17 Penn State, and that is the last time that Penn State would be tied or trailing in that football game. It was a brilliant call from Ricky Rahne at the perfect time. It's something that they had in the playbook ready to go when they saw a look like this, and Iowa finally gave it to him in the early stages of that third quarter, the first portion of the second half. But really, remember, Connor McGovern, the key, and his athleticism as a guard allowed Ricky Rahne to make that call and for that play to be executed to perfection. All right, let's now talk about the Michigan Wolverines, who Penn State plays this weekend in Ann Arbor. This is a football team that loves to run the football. Over 220 yards on average on the ground. Karan Higdon has the vast majority of those rushing attempts and the rushing yards. However, what do they do so well? Well, Shea Patterson is a key for this football team. He's a guy that joined the program this year as a transfer from Ole Miss and replaced what was a real, essentially, revolving door of John O'Korn and Wilton Spate. Spate playing his football now at UCLA. So Higdon as the back with Shea Patterson as the quarterback. Here's what's so effective for Michigan. A lot of times they'll either put Shea under center and he'll give the ball to Higdon up the middle, or they can put Shea Patterson in the shotgun, as you see in this graphic, and he can either hand it off to Higdon or he can run it himself, or he can certainly pass it himself. But this running it himself is something I want to talk about on this episode of the Blitz, because Shea Patterson is not necessarily the guy you think that's the fleetest of foot, but he still has 40 rushing attempts on the year. That's second only to Karan Higdon. So what was really effective in the first half against Wisconsin is they were busting it down the Badgers' throats with Karan Higdon, and then all of a sudden, fake a handoff to Higdon, and it's Patterson that heads off tackle and down the field for what ended up being an 80-yard run down to the 5-yard line. Now, why did they do this? Because Wisconsin had an outside end that pushed in here. The 3 technique playing defensive tackle pushed in here, and there was nobody on the outside as these guys pushed here. Higdon got the fake, Patterson took off, and Patterson nearly took it to the house. That's something that they can do really well. He's not the fleetest of foot, as I said, but he can certainly move, and that's going to be a concern for Penn State because, as Jason Lord said in our last segment, there could be problems for Penn State and have been up the middle at the interior defensive lineman spot. So does Sharif Miller, does Etor Gross-Matos have to cave in a little bit, and does that open up Shea Patterson on the edge, who, as we mentioned, is actually their second leading rusher and their second highest carry getter? The other thing that I want to talk about tonight is their 2 guards. They have extremely athletic guards. We talked about Connor McGovern for Penn State. Ben Bredesen and Michael Onwenu, number 74 and 50 respectively, are tremendous guards for Michigan. And I want to bring you back to one play in the second quarter where Karan Higdon got a huge gain. Shea Patterson was in the shotgun. Higdon was next to him. Snap. Here's Onwenu, and here is Bredesen. Snap. Handoff to Higdon. Simple off-tackle run, right? But the ability of Bredesen to get to the next level and take out a linebacker took him completely out of the play. And then 7 yards down the field, Onwenu darts straight up the field and takes out the strong safety and allows Higdon to continue down the field. That is not a college play. That is not something that you see very often from any offensive lineman. And you don't see it much from guys in the NFL either, even though those guys are physical specimens. I mean, Onwenu and Bredesen, that was just a characteristic and a textbook play from tremendous offensive linemen and athletic guards. We talk so much about offensive tackles in protecting the quarterback. Athletic guards can totally open up a running game. It's why Penn State could have problems against Michigan's offense this weekend. It's why Michigan averages over 200 rushing yards per game, and it's why then there's opportunities for Shea Patterson in the play action because guys have to commit so much at the line of scrimmage because of all the functions that the offensive line are running to really counteract anything the defense is going to throw at them. So they put bodies up front. It allows Devin Peoples-Jones to get open down the field, Eubanks to get open down the field. They got 4 guys with over 15 catches this year and 3 with over 20. They can spread it around, and the reason that is because of the space opened up down the field because of that attack with the run. And a big part of that are those 2 guards. So that's all we have for the Blitz here this evening. Hope you learned a little bit about the Michigan Wolverines and what to expect next weekend and why that call against Iowa. Ricky Rahne just keeps outdoing himself. The most brilliant call of the year. It wasn't complex, but it was perfect, and it was at the right time. So we'll be back on the other side previewing more Michigan Wolverine football here on the Nittany Lion Sports Report with Bob Long and Tyler Gelhaus. We'll be right back.